Welcome to Not Just a Cleaning Lady, a new and fresh approach to the professional cleaning industry. Founders of 6-time award-winning business Handmaid Cleaning, Facebook SMB council members, one of 50 hand-selected from 70+ million businesses. Founders of Handmaid Cleaning Connection, the fastest growing cleaning community in the world. Get ready to be motivated, educated, and inspired. Hosting real-life stories from real-life cleaners from all over the world. And now, your hosts, recognized cleaning industry leaders, breaking all the rules with class, Kevin and Grace Reynolds.
How are y'all doing, cleaning family? This is Kevin and Grace Reynolds, your host with Not Just a Cleaning Lady. Today's podcast is brought to you by Handmaid Cleaning Connection.
Biggest cleaning community in the world, bringing together the public and professional cleaners to bring about a greater awareness and respect for this industry.
Totally. So if you're not a member of the Handmaid Cleaning Connection, you can look us up on Facebook. There's that little search bar at the top right there. If you type in Handmaid space cleaning space connection, you'll find us. You can request to join, and either Grace or Cheryl or I will let you in.
So I'm sure all of you know Mr. Kevin J. Reynolds, my husband and best friend and business partner, best business partner I could ever have. If any of you out there are, a couple cleaning team, kudos to you. I know there can be a lot of challenges, but I think in the end, it's really brought Kevin and I even closer together over the years, and brought our family together, really, because it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, I really do think that you're onto something there. Are there any other couples here that run a cleaning service together? Just wondering. I'm sure there are. I know that there's others around here in our area that work together too.
Yeah.
So,
hi, Jen. Thank you for joining us and sending the heart. We love you too. We love all of you here in our Handmaid family, and we're really glad that you could join us, Jen. Where are you from? If you can just write that in the comments, that would be awesome. Then we can give a shout out to your local community. So let's see. I know that there are a lot of people in our community that are looking to really build their business. And, there's a lot of questions that come up throughout, every day about how to do that and like what the best methods are. And there's a lot to it. There really is. But I would say it's not really one, what kind of covers the basis of how to clean or how to grow your cleaning service is what you put in is what you will get out of what it is that you're doing. So that's from, whatever profits you're making, if you're putting that back into your business. And then also the time and energy spent, the quality of clean that you already provide on your own. Mm-hmm. Really whatever you're doing in your business, and whatever you're taking out of your business, you really need to also put back in, even more for a while. You need to put in more effort than what you are necessarily getting back at first. Wouldn't you say that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, that was just something that really hit me today, during my broken up 5-minute prayer time with all the kids. Our little one, Michael Phillip, is finally taking longer naps now. So I'm not breastfeeding every 10 minutes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I actually get a little bit of adult time. But so I know, Kevin, you did a lot of post-construction cleanings with our crews. And I know we just finished up the VA hospital. So maybe we can just sort of go over a couple of questions there and teach
Sure.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like, the price range is, and like what affects that price range as far as square foot goes? Because I know that's because we're not dealing with furniture or dogs coming in and out, or how many kids live in the
Right.
home, or how well it's taken care of until, you know, we came in and did the cleaning. What is it that kind of is factors that they can look for if they are on a post-construction estimate, you know, with a contractor?
Sure. Well, you know, with post-construction cleaning, a lot of times people will bid the jobs just based on square footage alone. And if we were in a bigger town, we would probably do a lot more than that. Because we're in a small town and there's not a lot of, you know, big gnarly buildings going up all the time. This summer has been like our most post-construction cleaning that we've done consecutively in Handmaid history,
Right.
because we had that new mall opening up. And so we had PetSmart and then Famous Footwear and Ross and Marshalls. And so,
And that is a big deal for Walla Walla, guys. I know,
Huge.
like in bigger cities, because we originally came from bigger cities, it's like, oh, that's cool, you know, especially if something's coming up in your area a little closer to your house. That's always nice. But here in Walla Walla, it's like you have to drive, you know, over an hour away just to get to a Ross. So this was like
Yeah.
a really big deal for the town.
it
So,
takes 10 minutes to get anywhere in town. We don't even have a Wendy's.
No.
We used to have a Wendy's, but we don't have a Wendy's anymore.
Yeah.
No
Carl's Jr.
No Carl's.
Or Hardee's.
But we have
depending
two
on- yeah.
McDonald's, right? We have two McDonald's.
But
Yep.
two McDonald's.
And a Burger King.
Blah.
So at any rate, I like to put my eyes on any jobs that we're going to bid, especially the bigger jobs.
Right.
There are post-construction cleanings that you can go on to, and the place is just completely all gnarled up. You know,
Right.
like the subs have left, you know, mortar or grout and just all over the place. The painters have spilled
Right.
stuff everywhere.
Yep.
And then you have jobs where, you know, typically where the superintendent or the general contractor is on scene most of the time, kind of there managing all the subs.
Right.
You have a much cleaner job that you're walking into.
Right.
So I don't like blind bidding it when I can just drive 10 minutes anywhere in town and look at it. So,
Right.
and then we can use the square footage as kind of like a gauge. And then when we walk the job, we can just say, well, I know that it's going to take us 2 hours to clean those bathrooms
Right.
each. And I know that it's going to, and we can kind of add up the hours and then kind of compare that to the square footage. And then we know that we're right in the ballpark that we want to be in to try to win that award. So with this job that we did, this VA hospital that we did this week, it was 25,000 square feet. And the contractor there was Brinkman Connectors out of, I think they're out of Colorado.
Okay.
And they did an awesome job. You know, they had a
Right.
superintendent on site all day, every day for the most part.
Mhm.
And, you know, when I walked in there, the facility was certainly prepared for a professional cleaning.
Right.
So everything, you know, all the rough cleaning was done. And so we're going to, you know, as far as square footage goes, we're going to bid that on the lower end just because the amount of labor wasn't as intense as it could be.
Right.
So, you know, when I'm going into those estimates, that's the kind of things that I'm looking for is how clean is it already?
Right.
And how much buildup is there from the subs?
Right. So would you say that, like, let's say there is a lot of grout and there's like pieces, I know I've seen jobs where there's like pieces of the
That,
I'm not a contractor, so the drywall,
yes.
like chunks of drywall all over the place and just layers of drywall, like dust everywhere, and just pieces of stuff like all over, you know, the tile and stuck on and whatnot. What would that, like, if it's, you know, obviously more than usual of that kind of thing, of that kind of leftovers, I guess you could say, how much per square foot would you charge for that?
Yeah, so usually when I get in there, I talk to who's in charge, you know, superintendent, general
Right.
contractor, and I say, what can we do for you? Are y'all gonna do a rough clean, or are we gonna do the rough clean? And so I'll have an idea of what they need. And so with the post-construction cleaning on this one, we came in right around 20 cents a square foot. And, I'd say post-construction cleaning, it varies so much. It can go from, 20 cents a square foot up to 50, 55 cents a square foot, depending on what you're doing, how long it's going to take.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So that's good. That's actually, you can possibly profit when you're, even if it's more difficult, if you're able to bid, 50 cents a square foot, you can tackle that and still do okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make it through.
Yep, for sure. I'd say one of the biggest challenges of doing post-construction cleanings is just the scheduling. And because here's the thing, this job in particular, it was on our board 2 weeks ago,
Right.
And so
Cheryl
had kind of carved out time for that.
Right.
And then, of course, they say, oh no,
we're not ready yet.
we got to wait a week.
Right. Yeah.
And then, the Friday before the Monday start, again, hey, sorry, we need to push this off another week.
Right.
And so carving out that time for a big crew is challenging.
Right.
So usually, what we have to do is have like one person there that's in charge, and then kind of dispatch crews in between their one-off cleanings and their maintenance cleanings.
Okay.
So you have different techs kind of coming through whenever they can get to the job, because we got to keep running our normal day-to-day maintenance.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yep. And I watched that happen. And that can be really tough if you're in a situation where you have one a bid, you plan for a certain time, and then they just aren't ready for you yet. And so they need you to, back up a little bit, and then you got to, adjust the schedule again. And I know Cheryl had to deal with that too. So
yeah, it almost always
tough.
Happens on these jobs. And
so you can count on it, basically.
Right. And keep that in mind when you're bidding these jobs. There has to be a cushion there. There's the labor, what you're going to charge for each technician's labor hour, what you have to charge to cover payroll expenses, to cover the overhead, the supplies that they're going to use, the wear on the equipment,
right?
Insurances. On the mall job, we had to get an additional insurance for vehicles, just to have our vehicles on their lot. And so we had to call our agent and say, hey, we need you to, and we already have a very good insurance policy on,
but it it didn't cover that.
That's just what they want, so all these little things kind of add up. And so and carving out time, and then them canceling at the last second, which you can pretty much count on is going to happen. Right. That day you've already moved everything around, and you're not making any money that day. No one is. Your employees aren't, the company isn't. So you have to kind of factor that into your bid also. Yeah.
Don't feel bad about like charging what you need to charge, and covering your basis there, where like you might have technicians or a day where your business isn't making as much money as normal, and it's because you've scheduled and planned for what they had told you, and then it just doesn't work out for them. So you have to reschedule again.
Yep.
So, and that's, that's time and energy and like blood, sweat, and tears. You have to factor that in. I mean, you have wear and tear on a vehicle, you got wear and tear on your, mind trying to figure all this stuff out. So tack a few cents on per square foot for that too. So, I am going to change the subject now.
Oh, hey, I just wanted to, I haven't had a chance to really talk to you about this yet, a little bit, but we went out on another bid today for a post-construction cleaning about an hour and a half away out of town.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And it was a gnarly house.
Okay.
This thing, custom built. It's been, they've been working on it for over a year now.
Okay.
And the flooring, he said, this is going to be the first house in the West that has this Australian beechwood hard floor or whatever. Like, it's incredibly rare, and there's like a monopoly, like one family in Australia like has a monopoly like on this wood, on this tree or whatever. And so it's going to be fun to clean it. I'm kind of scared to clean it. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you know what I mean? They said that
Don't mess it up.
they put
right?
Bona on it already. Like when they installed it, that was part of like what the manufacturer said, that they wanted it to be like, you know, sealed or whatnot with Bona. And so that's what we got on it right now. So I don't want to come at it with any vinegar or
steam
anything
cleaners,
like that.
vinegar, all that stuff's off limits for sure.
So I think that it's covered with cardboard. So I think that what we'll do is we will, you know, of course, you know, vacuum it, and then maybe just use like a little bit of water and maybe just a drop of Dawn if we need to, so that we don't disturb the Bona, because you don't want to make the Bona mad.
Right, definitely.
Like our
I know.
I'll go.
Do you want to go?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if you hear, but upstairs we have a almost 5-year-old Molly. She has strep throat right now. It's like so devastating for her, and you know, the whole family, because we're having to, you know, take care of her, and it's really hard to see her go through it. But she just has like swollen glands, and it sounds like she's crying right now. So Kevin just went to assist her. So I know, you know, we were just talking about post-construction cleaning, and if you haven't joined us until now, just know that you can, you know, look at this later on and get information about the post-construction cleaning bidding and everything. And that'll be good for, I know, a lot of you that have inquired about that on our group page. We also wanted to welcome, let's see, Denise DeAngel. I hope that I am pronouncing that correctly. Denise DeAngel and Tanya Craig. You were both selected by the admins and Cheryl Milligan, our right-hand handmaid, to be moderators on our page. And so that's super exciting. We're so happy to have you here, and we're excited about the future of, you know, just coming together as a cleaning community and supporting each other and bringing on new people to join our team to make this all happen more effectively and more responsibly. And then also just, you know, make sure that we're all here for each other. So it looks like Julia Ford, you would like to know how you determine prices for regular maintenance homes. Do you do square foot or hourly? Thank you, Julia. We actually, so we have sort of, I know that Kevin has posted it before, and I forget the exact numbers, but we have a, you know, a basic average of how much we're going to charge per square foot, depending on the condition of the home. So you might have 1,000 square foot home, and then in comparison to like a 4,000 square foot home, it could be a similar price, if, at least on that first time cleaning, if there is a lot of work to do. So if there's just a lot of hard water buildup, if there's just a lot of, you know, pets that have been living in the house and dirt on the walls, or nicotine, even like cigarette smoke, if people have been smoking in the home. I think most of you know that there are some homes that are a lot more neglected. Not to judge anyone, you know, everyone's situation is different, and I think all of us here know that that we can't judge any of our clients, but there are homes that are a lot more in need of like heavier cleanings. So we try to stay around the like $45 range, $45 an hour range. And so that's more of our target, because we pay by the hour. We have to kind of set that standard of how much we need to make per hour. And so here in Washington State, with the laws that we have here, the minimum wage that we have here, and then also the community that we live in and what their expectations are, I think, if we were in Seattle or another bigger city like Spokane, we could probably charge quite a bit more. We probably have to pay our technicians more too. So there's just a lot of factors that go into it. But definitely, if you're doing square foot, you still want to take into account how long is that and how much work is going to go into the property that you're cleaning, not just, square footage alone. So yeah, that's a really great question. And I hope that helped. It looks like, okay, Angela Pritchard says $45 per hour per one cleaner. Yes, Angela, that is correct. So it's per man hour. So if I was going by myself or any of our technicians are going by themselves, it'll be $45 an hour. And then every technician after that is the same amount per hour. Hi, he made it back. He survived.
Barely. I had a bowl of Wheaties while I was up there, so I feel
Yay!
more stronger now.
You feel more stronger now. So I congratulated, to catch you up, I was just congratulating Denise,
Cool.
Angel, and I, again, hope I am pronouncing that right, and then Tanya Craig, who are now moderators.
That's exciting.
On the page. I know, it's
cool.
So exciting. So we'll have to do some lives with them if they're willing to here soon. And we apologize that we haven't been live very often over the past month because I was going in and out of labor and then delivery and then just, getting used to having another little tiny cutie pie in the house.
This one's been tough, bringing this one home.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I think there was the kids, there's two in particular little ones that were taking it out on us. Mm-hmm. Thankfully not their baby brother. All the girls love their baby brother, but they're not so happy with us.
It's getting a little bit better now. Week 2.
Yes, it is. Definitely. So, yeah.
So I wanted to tell you about this house that we saw today. Oh,
that's right. Okay. So this was the Australian floors with the Bona. So was it Bona polish or was it Bona?
I don't know. I asked them and they just seemed like, I think that whoever installed the floor, so the floor sub or whatnot is who put it down. So I mean, I'm guessing it's the polish that they used. So
maybe this Australian beechwood does good with beeswax on it.
Maybe, yeah.
I think Bona polish has a wax, right? And that's not very good for wood.
Yeah, we've seen it built up so much that, I mean, you can sit there and strip off layers of that polish off of the floors, and it takes a lot of time to do that. And man, I think that the debris gets trapped in between each layer too. Like if the floors aren't completely clean when they put it on.
Right. So if you have ever stripped and waxed floors before, if you've done that kind of thing, either for a company or on your own, that's what stripping is. It's taking all of the debris that you may or may not see off the floor so you can wax it. And then you have this very hard layer of wax over the floor. Well, if you're just doing it as a homeowner in your home, or even, like us who do residential cleanings, it can be devastating if you're doing that in someone's home on their floors and it's not properly stripped, because it is a wax and it does stay hard. And I think the one that we did, it was a homeowner that had been using it herself, and it was literally years worth of Bona wax. They call it Bona polish, I think, but it's actually a wax. And stripping it off was, even with like pretty heavy duty equipment, was impossible. So
Yeah, I think people put it on too often too. They think it's just a cleaner. Maybe they don't really read the bottle. Someone tells them, they say, "Hey, Bona is great," and then they go to the store and they see Bona, and they're like, "There it is," wood floors, and it's actually a polish that they're putting on.
right.
And so they use it like every week or whatever, and it's just like one
and
layer.
They're like, "Oh, this looks so shiny." Yeah.
And then you gotta put it on more often, you know what I mean? Because the shine wears off quicker. But anyway, the floors are awesome over there.
Okay.
The tile is like, he was like, there's tile like on the backsplash in the kitchen, and like I went to like touch it. He was like, "Don't," and I'm like, "Oh, dude," like. And he's like, "That's really expensive tile. It's like $1 a foot."
Yeah.
And they're like little like subway tiles or whatnot.
Right.
And I guess they come from like some other country or something like that.
So they didn't want you to touch the tile? Like,
he was kidding.
Okay.
But he wasn't kidding about like what products that go on there though. He said,
Right.
"Look, this is, it's epoxy grout and everything, but we need to be careful what goes on here because this is really expensive tile."
Okay.
So.
Well, let's do that. Let's be careful.
Well, if we get that bid,
right.
Then we should do a live from there if they let us.
Okay.
Because I know the house is going to be in some kind of parade of homes where they're going to have hundreds of people walk through, and like they're going to vote and say, "This is the gnarliest house I saw," or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then so, and if we get it, then we can also advertise there to all the area contractors out in that area.
Right, right.
So it's kind of cool, because you're going to have a lot of builders in there. You're also going to have a lot of folks that are in there, investors, developers, and people that are looking to have a custom home built. So
very cool.
They usually have cleaning services for their homes. So it'll be cool to have our material there for that.
Right. Yeah. So is this contractor, is he from Washington State or? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. So hopefully we're competitive on the bid, and we'll get that. I think it's the 3rd week of August that he needs it done.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Let's see. Is there any more questions? All right. Do you have to have them paid before the clean on a project like this?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
And let's see, was that Angela Pritchard again? Yes. Thank you, Angela. That's a great question.
Yeah, and I meant to bring this up earlier when we were talking about carving out time for your crews and then expecting them to kind of postpone, because construction schedules are always super gnarly like that. Like nothing ever happens on time. So what we do, especially if we haven't worked with a builder or a developer or a general contractor before, if we have no relationship with them at all, we require a 50% down at time of booking. And so, we usually, it's usually payment by card. And so they'll call into the office, or we'll send them an invoice in their email that they can pay online first. And so we require 50% upfront. So if it's $5,000 for the job, $2,500 to schedule. Right. And then we get them on our books. And so, so let's say that, because, you're running a payroll every couple of weeks probably, or every week or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so you need to be able to have a little bit of cushion there on that job, because sometimes, if you invoice the remainder on a net 15 or even a net 30, a lot of times it doesn't come in within those 30 days. And so now you're waiting sometimes 60 days, 90 days, sometimes more. Right. And so it's nice to have at least a chunk of that up front, so that if the other 50% just never happens to come in, you're not taking that big of a hit. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's definitely the way to go. Yeah, you don't want to be left not getting paid for a large job like that. Definitely. I think I see another question from Julia Ford. Thank you so much again for joining us. She said, let's say you have done a deep clean and this is regular bi-weekly cleaning. Let's.
Or are we talking prices?
Yeah, are we talking about? Is that per cleaner? Okay, so maybe Julia, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe what she's saying is like the square foot or the pricing, like how do you price the bi-weekly and
Okay.
as opposed to the deep cleaning. And
Right.
and I was talking about that before, so I think I'll maybe just iron this one out.
Sure, yeah.
So I was telling them that it's important that they don't just do like square footage and have a set price for square footage, that square footage, just like with post-construction, can definitely fluctuate. But for our area of service, like here in Walla Walla, we try to aim for about $45 an hour. And that's, the culture out here, what's expected as far as like how much people can charge for anything. Like a larger city, things are going to be more expensive. There's more inflation and all of that. So it's like the living expenses, all of that has to be taken into account when you're charging. But as far as the biweekly cleanings, there's that $45 an hour is still $45 an hour, whether it's a deep cleaning or it's a biweekly cleaning. You're just, once you do that deep cleaning, as I'm sure you know, you don't have to sit there and scrub every time like you did that first time, or have to, touch the same areas for as long. You can just sort of just keep up with it.
Right. And also, Julia or whoever is in this kind of situation, keep in mind that, what we charge per hour, for our business or whatnot is what works for our business, where we are on our journey. And, we, if we're just starting out, we're not going to ask or charge the same rates as a company that, has a large payroll and has, a company vehicle or several company vehicles, has, a significant advertising spend or whatnot, and all that overhead that goes into factoring how much we charge on the jobs.
Yeah. And it's definitely true. I think in the beginning, it's kind of like I was saying at the beginning of this live, you have to put in more in the beginning in order to reap more. So the more you sow, the more you'll reap. And in the beginning, when you're just starting out on your own, or there's only two of you, business partners trying to get something started, you will charge a little bit less in the beginning. But I would definitely suggest that once you start filling up your schedule, that you raise the prices even before you take on true employees onto your payroll. Because you want to already have that kind of building up before you're in the situation of having to pay people and having more insurance costs and more just overall overhead. You want to establish also that standard with the clients of how much it's going to be, and just, build that respect for your business before, you're in a situation of despair, as we call it. What is it called? The valley.
Yeah, it's that time where you've built up like a route, and you need to start, hiring a staff. And so hiring a staff is expensive, and then you have to significantly sometimes raise your rates on your current clients. And sometimes, the client will look at it like you just, it's like a price hike. You can go from, it's tough to go from $20 an hour to $40 an hour. So you want to, when you start filling up, you want to start slowly increasing your rates, maybe $5 extra an hour, so that you're getting ready for staff. And then meanwhile, try not to just take that extra money and, cruise out to Hawaii or to the casino.
Unless you want to stay like a small
maybe
business.
for a couple nights, you know what I mean? But really, you want to save that so that you're reinvesting it back into your business. And so, so when you do have that